Starfell. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a wrap-up of some recent reads. To kick it off, I had read Flashback, which is book 7 in Keepers of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. As usual, I just love these so much. I wanted to see more of one character with Sophie and less of another one. This was even more intense, and we spent a good chunk of the book waiting for some characters to heal. I couldn't read as fast enough in so many parts of the book. Where the author is going with certain abilities and the things she's creating from some of those abilities is just incredible. And even though I read this one so fast and loved it so much, if I had to pick a least favorite so far, I think this would be the one. Just because there's so much time spent healing and there's not enough time with one of my faves, like I mentioned, and more of a one character that I could do without, but that no way means I didn't enjoy this book because I loved it so much. Couldn't put it down, read it in almost 2 days. Dex made me so proud on this book in a couple scenes in particular, on page 43 and then pages 96 to 107. He's such a great person and such an amazing friend, so much smarter and braver than he gives himself credit for. And Wiley also had me blown away, and this to see more of him. Sandra got me all emotional in the beginning and I got worried, but it was all good. I love him so much. I also love Grizel and especially Ro. Ro is still just the absolute best. Didn't see enough of her in this one either though. I also really enjoyed Tarina's character and find her and everything about the Trolls period as well so fascinating. I really hope to see more of them. I absolutely fell in love with Flory. My heart. Oh. Grady and Edeline are still just the cutest parents, especially when boys are around Sophie, and especially Grady. We got to see more of Sylvanie in this too, and my heart is just so full. I don't want these to end. I just love them so much. Highly recommend. And I read the 4th book in the Pandava series, Our Shah in the City of Gold by Roshani and Chokshi. I love this series so much. Having the best time with these kids. I still absolutely love the Hindu mythology. And like I've said before, India is huge, and the mythology apparently varies depending on where in India you are. And the author describes the aspect of Hindu mythology she drew from in the beginning with a Dear Reader part. This author has created such an intricate story with so much depth, culture, and heart. The humor is still so on point and my kind of humor. I love it, and I love Aro. The movie references continue. A few were from Frozen, the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland, Beauty and the Beast, yes, Princess Bride, Pretty Woman, and so many more. Even some TV, including a take on a very popular Oprah phrase, which I absolutely loved. And there's even a Twitter reference, and an Otherworld character asks what Twitter is, and it says in the book, it's a quote, "A cesspit," says Britain darkly, and I nearly spat out my drink, because it's so true. I'm still so in love with Aro's love and commitment to Home Depot as well. Also, her take on the word feisty is hilarious, and I just absolutely love her. Still loving Minnie and her scary, intense, morbid health facts she spits out at all times. There's our new character that says random facts about anything and everything as well, and I'm also loving that. I get more and more proud of our Minnie each book. She's the daughter of the god of death, and she is beginning to see her own worth, and my heart melts. She's just the best. There's a sad part, but then it turns into something even more beautiful, and of course the humor comes. So a blue chicken and Minnie's, "Please do it for the children," and then also you just have to read it. And Bert and Arrow thinks she's using her inside voice but actually her outside voice, and the embarrassment. I laugh way too much at this with these. So many twists, and that ending was like, what? It was so good. I was so happy I had the next one ready to dive into. Just as many amazing messages and lessons too. Anger and what it can do to you. If you fight with anger in your heart, it's basically like poison and you will lose. And by trying to destroy someone else, you will destroy yourself in the process as well. And also it takes a strong person to be weak when called for. And also sometimes the good guys doing things that aren't so good and the bad guys don't seem all that bad. So as long as you're doing what you feel is right, choose your own side to be on. Just such a great series. Highly recommend. I read Marcus Swift and the Mirror of Souls by D.E. Cunningham. The author had sent me this. Thank you so much. Illustrations throughout too. This was such a thrilling, magical adventure. Really enjoyed it. It was so imaginative, such a unique portal fantasy. I found the magic system with the gemstones absolutely fascinating. Loved everything that the author created with that, as well as the world of Mortem. There's a race against time, high stakes, task adventure, suspense, danger. Also such amazing underlying messages and themes such as grief, anger, guilt, regret. The author does a great job of having this fantasy adventure that in a way symbolizes the grief process our main character is dealing with. I think this would help kids going through something similar greatly. It's just such a great story. I really enjoyed this. And then I read the second book in the Starfell series by Dominique Valente. And this is Willow and the Forgotten Tale. This is the UK edition. It's going to be a favorite series, so I have the US and UK editions of what's currently out. The US edition of the fourth book isn't out yet. I think it comes out in January. This is the US edition of this one. But I read the UK one. Oh, hold on, I'll show you. But first, I'll show you the naked hardback. So pretty. I read they're both stunning, and I love both covers so much. But the US doesn't have illustrations inside. And so I read the UK because the illustrations inside just add so much to the story. And I absolutely love that. I was so happy to finally be continuing in the series. It's just as incredible as the first book, and just as book hug worthy. I love the growth and confidence Willow has gained from the first book. Her parents and stuff with her magic knock it back down some in this, but she learns how to deal with everything and face the problems. One character from the first wasn't as involved in this one, and I thought that would bug me some, but it didn't. We meet some new characters and even have some old favorites along the way, and it was just so great. I love the new characters we meet and everything we learn about them. Also spending time with some familiar characters again. Just like the story writing, all the author's characters are so unique and imaginative, so different from the other and identifiable. We have a whole new mystery and adventure, along with a magic side mystery too. And I had the best time. Osborne has my heart still. He's just as incredible as I remember from the first book. His funny way of talking is written so well, I can almost hear him in my head while reading. Then all his funny sayings he will say quite often. It's just the best characters. These books are like a warm hug and just fill your heart with so much love and fill up your own imagination. Willow is such an endearing main character, such a kind soul. I'm loving seeing her growth overall throughout the books and look forward to where she goes from here. It's full of magic, friendship, adventure, mystery, imagination, and heart. I thought the author handled the subject of grief in here incredibly well also. Just highly recommend these. I absolutely loved it. I read The Forest of Moon and Sword by Raphael. I wanted to read this one before I read her newest one. It's got beautiful illustrations inside. Really enjoyed it. The writing style is quite different to anything I've read before though, and it was hard for me personally to get used to, but still a great story. This is full of adventure, nature, hope, prejudice, bravery. I hate this drawing for witches, or women period really, that gets so bad no woman is safe and all women are judged as being evil is the real evil. Like that hate is evil. I love how the magic that is so feared by people in this is actually nature and the remedies it itself offers. It's a beautiful thing. I really love the friendship that formed between Art and Mercy too. Lady has my heart though. And while I really enjoyed this, other than the writing style being different for me, I think it could have really benefited if it were longer and fleshed out more. It could have been even more enjoyable. I really had a fun time though, very quick read, beautiful cover and inside illustration, so enjoyed it. And then I read Drifters by Kevin Emerson. And this recently came out. All these books are now out, so. This is just such an epic and thrilling sci-fi mystery. I am in love with it. It's a thick one, but you don't realize it. You just fly through it. It also has so many amazing issues at its core that are so relatable and will be so relatable to so many kids. Like friendships changing, drifting apart, not feeling seen or heard, not belonging, feeling invisible, just not feeling a connection to anything. The way the author weaves all these issues into this incredible sci-fi mystery and have it all come together the way it did just blew my mind. We start current time and we come back to this time occasionally until we're all caught up, and then we move forward. And then the chapters go to 2018 and those events that led up to where we are now. And each of those chapters have like the date and a countdown to breach. So occasionally there'll be an interlude part written up like a document or case file, or even one case like a screenplay type thing, addressing an event that has happened before over several years. said this in my review, but I don't know how the author has the brain capacity to write this, because I'm having trouble even describing it and have it. I don't know how he had it write it and have it all come together when I can barely describe it and how amazing it is, but it's just genius. Everything he has created, so imaginative, vivid, detailed, mysterious, emotional, and even thought-provoking. Like the correlation of becoming a drifter to becoming invisible, like no one sees you, you have no connections, it just makes you think. From the drifters, the gradient, the bathhouse, and that whole story and those people, the bracelet, the blue suit, the spyglass, the town itself, the forgetting, one character's journal and their story, and so much more are just some of the incredible ingredients to this deliciously mysterious sci-fi story. It is just so good. Another great lesson is don't let appearances fool you. Nobody's life's perfect, and the happiest looking people can sometimes be the most broken inside. Never assume someone has it all together or they don't need support or help. Everyone needs it sometimes. And this won't matter to some, but there is a Nirvana Unplugged reference in here. And when I tell you my grungy 90s loving heart loved that, I loved it. If you couldn't tell. I loved how it all came together and it completely blew me away. I had no idea how this was gonna go. Couldn't even guess anything that would happen. It was just epic. The characters are incredible. Sylvan has my heart. He's just such a great friend, and he shows the true meaning of not only friendship but bravery. I highly recommend this. It's such a great story. Oh, and thank you to HarperCollins who sent me this. Thank you so much. And HarperCollins also sent me this, so thank you very much. Unfadeable by Maurice, Broaddus. Deeply moving and impactful story. I absolutely love this book. It's a contemporary, but I flew through this. Contemporaries get me, they get me in the right spots, and I love that. And I knew this one sounded like one I would want to read, and I was so right. There's so many amazing things about this book, and so many important issues brought up in here, issues that we're still dealing with in our country today, which is kind of ridiculous in 2022 to still be dealing with these things, to have people still be dealing with these things. Like the forgotten neighborhoods, like where the city, state, government should be helping them but aren't. Makes me wonder if things like that happen in this book, like where neighborhoods are supposed to get this money for their neighborhood to help it out and build it and make things better, and then they don't, if that really does happen. Just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. We learned that. And the sad thing is I'm pretty sure it probably does, and I want to do research on it. It's just so evil, so I definitely want to be looking into that more. And I love books like that that make me learn more, especially about important issues like this. Books that make me think and ask questions. I know the street aspect of the story is all too real. People like a character that you don't really actually meet, but his name is all you, which is more impactful, that such a character gets so much fear from just their name, and you don't even meet them in the book, but you remember that name and everybody knows, and we don't even meet him. But characters like that, like in neighborhoods, or just all over, that are just feared and you know their name. And then the youth, like two boys in this book that sometimes choose to go down the wrong path, like the two boys in this book, and end up running with people like that. And also homeless kids, and that just broke my heart. So many heartbreaking things in here, and all of them more heartbreaking because this isn't a fantasy. These are like based off real life problems and issues, and that's just so... You can't judge neighborhoods like this as being bad. It's not their fault. They're not getting the help they need and deserve, and just have to make do with what they have. And you also can't judge a community as a whole because of a few bad seeds. When you do those things, you miss out on seeing that the community's doing the best with what they have and making the most of it. And it's a beautiful thing in some ways to see, but it still shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't have to do that. You'd also miss those amazing souls if only looking for the best. People like M and Miss Campbell in here, doing everything they can to help their neighborhood and the people living in it, never giving up, making others feel seen, who won't use their mistakes against them. And that can just mean so much, just being seen and not having your mistakes used against you. There's a line in here that says, "It's just something real about someone willing to fight for you," and that's so true. Money might mean power in a lot of ways, but we all have a voice. And there is power in that as well. Just great power. Just use your voice. Especially when we come together and put our voices together, there's no greater power than that. And Bella's character growth and development was just so amazing. The author did it at an honest pace too. It took time for her to even trust a little bit. All she's gone through have made her untrusting, and I don't blame her one bit. She should never have had so much she's went through at a young age, and all she's had on her shoulders, and which is just too much. And so many kids in real life don't have an M or a Miss Campbell in their life like our character does, and that's just heartbreaking to think about. There's also some mental health discussion in here, and I won't say with who or any details about it, so not to spoil. But the lead up to that was like, wow, the author handled that and so many things in this book so well. Maybe and me, something I really loved seeing was, it's a pit bull in here. They're so unfairly judged. I understand how everything negative said about them and all the stuff that gets brought out, why people will be scared, but it's all in how you raise them, all in how you treat a dog. Any dog is treated horribly or forced to fight, etc., then you should be extra cautious, no matter the breed, because basically their soul has been broken. So, I won't go into any more of a rant, but it was so nice not only seeing them in the book, which it might be a first time, I've read so many books now, but not only seeing them in a book, but actually seeing them portrayed in such a great light. This is such a powerful book with so many amazing messages and lessons. Some scenes on pages 271 and 278 had me all in the feels in the best book hug worthy ways. The story is empowering and deeply moving. The writing is superb. The characters are so endearing and engaging, and you root for them all the way. I love the land and all the people we meet. And so many relatable issues. I even related to some issues in here, as well as starting a fight over nothing. So I had to have an excuse to leave them before they left me. That's how I used to be. So before they could abandon me, it's so. Another relatable thing in here is anger and what to do with it. And there's a line, focus my anger on things that folks angry about them. Totally agree. And instead of asking why me, ask why not me. Such a great story, highly recommend. And then I read the 5th book in the Pandavas series, Our Shah and the Nectar of Immortality by Roshani. This is the 5th book, and I think she says it's going to be the last, and I'm so sad that it's over. Such an incredible series. It was phenomenal though, and I got it, this just came out, and I got it the day I got it the day before I finished the 4th one, so it was perfect timing. I'm so glad I picked that time to read the series, so I didn't have to wait. I could just go back to back to back. The high stakes, the race against time element was at an all-time high in this one. It's a very fast-paced read. These characters are so amazing, and they will always have a piece of my heart. I'll always remember my bond with Aro over movies, love for Home Depot, disgust for yellow starburst, and, thanks to her actually, being creeped out by butterflies now. Minnie has come such a long way. She realizes that she wasn't powerful in spite of her fear, she was powerful because of it. She's still our lovable, morbid Mimi though, with her morbid facts, liking creepy things and places, wanting monsters for pets occasionally. And she had me screaming yes with the customer service representative bit. Then our strong Bren, who's so vulnerable on the inside. She realized that she might be smaller, she wasn't as powerful sometimes, but that's okay. When someone chooses to see you only as small and weak, it makes them careless. And there's power in that. I also have a new way I want to try hot chocolate thanks to her. Rudy is so sweet, and his love for The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and finding out he has a Beauty and the Beast soundtrack cemented my love for him. And the band in this book, yes, finally, and wifey. So many heartwarming scenes with him, and what he does in this book made my love for him even more. Made me love him even more. So many great messages, of course. The importance of stories, the truth, being remembered. Also, even the bad parts of life serve a purpose, even if we don't understand. Sometimes you have to be powerless to understand what it means to be powerful. And all you can do is the best you can. The ending was absolutely epic. Some parts were bittersweet, but I understand. These are just the best. So much adventure, danger, culture, friendship, family, mythology, heart, and the most amazing humor. The humor. Sad it's over, but so happy I read it. And I want more middle grade from this author. Highly recommend. And I read the 8th book in the Keeper of the Lost Cities, Legacy by Shannon Messenger. And this one has end papers that I think were drawn by the author, which I absolutely love. I'm just so blown away that at the 8th book, the series continues to get better and better and just stay so good. Fitz annoyed me so much in this book and was so selfish, snobbish with some things, and just so much. Ugh. He definitely keeps seeming in my dislike for him, that's for sure. Got to see more of Keith in this one, and I love that. Rose still rocks so much. She's so hilarious too. I still laugh so hard with Grady trying to be overprotective with everything. With the boy stuff, it's especially funny, and with Adeline pinching him. And then what Sophie and Keith thought about Bronte at one point, and that conversation. And speaking of Bronte, he has these moments where I just love him so much, and I can almost understand him in a way too. Then this missing memory, the twist, secrets revealed, the muddy path they have to walk. Just everything in general that we learn. Plus the adventures and everything they do in here was so intriguing and gripping. Keith and his honest view on certain things that help, while other people pile on more on Sophie's shoulders and make everything about them. Looking at you, Fitzy. And then the term gonna foster it. I love Keith. And the EL fudges, it's just hilarious. And then the big revelation at the end and the epic ending that left me like, wait, what? I love this series so much. I highly recommend. And then lastly, I read the third book in Starfell by Dominique, Valente, Willow, and A Vanished Kingdom. And The Vanished Kingdom is the UK edition. The US edition are both beautiful. And then of course I read the UK edition because it has the beautiful illustrations. This series just melts my heart more and more with each book. I love being transported to this magical and beautiful world by the author. And the world, the characters, and the stories she has created are just stunning in every single way. The lost thing we have to recover in each book so far is also so imaginatively done. And so creative and fascinating as well. The Lost Day in book 1, and then books 2, Lost Thing, and then this book is just wow. I'm not saying what's lost after book 1, so not just well. Such a big task for our Willow in this, but she proves time and again how strong and fierce she really is, even proving it to herself. I love her character growth so far through the books, and I'm really loving the girl she's becoming even more as she continues to learn and grow and experience life. I really love how there is a new adventure in each book. Even though it's tied to one main part, it doesn't just drag on and on. It's all new, almost separate in a way. Adventures, all new, almost separate in a way. Adventures are created, and I love that. That plus each new lost thing, each one is so enjoyable and entertaining. I also love how you always see familiar faces, but you also meet all new characters each book that you fall in love with as well. I love Twist so much, and where she lives, the backstory, and just everything we learn, period. I'm absolutely in love with Scratch. When an author can make you fall in love with a table, enough said. Oswin still has my heart, of course, so I can't say it like him, but the phrase, you know, oh no, oh me, or red ant, do all roads lead to eel. He's just so original and unique, and I just imagine him saying it in a different way in my head, a funnier way in my head though. While he may be very grumpy, he remains so lovable. He gets some good advice in here as well about looking like a cat to go along with other amazing messages throughout the book. The twist and that ending had my mouth hanging open. Immediately dived into the next book. Just highly recommend. Just such a great series. Alright, y'all, that's it for this video. Did you see any that you want to read? Have you read any yet? Did you like them? Did you not? Let me know in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Today's shirt's Kurt Cobain. If you'd like to subscribe, I would love that if you'd like to. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.